Elf, what we're going to be doing here is I'm going to give you a demonstration on how powerful the tarot can be when you just use your intuition.
Okay.
A lot of people think that we're just reading pictures and reading what we've read from a book, but it's intuition. Now, to prove this, what I'm going to do is give you an intuitive reading of some tarot cards that you've selected behind your back, and I'm going to try and read those cards without seeing them. So I'll give you a reading. We're only going to use 2 cards, so it's only going to last a few minutes. It will be about some deep personal characteristics of yours. Are you okay with that?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, lovely. Do you have any questions before we go ahead?
No.
Okay. Well, what I've got here is 22 Major Arcana from the tarot. I don't know if you know what that means. Basically, the 22 Major Arcana is a very rough shuffle, but you get the idea. Are related to your personal, very personal traits, your emotions, your hopes. But in this particular case, they're going to be related to the 2 major things that are affecting your life at the moment. The 2 major traits about you that are causing whatever is happening to you in your life right now. From that, you'll be able to work out whether or not you're going the right way or whether or not to change these things about yourself. Make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Absolutely wonderful. Okay, well, if I could just get you to hold these behind your back, please. Is this going to be easy for you sitting down?
Yep.
Okay. Now, for this to work correctly, we need the powers that be, chance, fate, all of those, to put the cards wherever it is fate needs those cards to be.
Yep.
Now, because of that reason, it's best we don't influence the cards by knowing where they are, obviously. And I say that because when I handed you the cards, there's a possibility that you saw the bottom card. I'm pretty sure I might have. So it's up to you. You can take that bottom card away and just put it on the table. Are you happy with that?
Yeah.
We don't need to know what that is. Okay, so now we have a deck of cards behind your back. No one knows where anything is. Now take the next bottom card, please.
Yes.
Turn it face up and place it somewhere in the deck. Take your time, no pressure at all. All good?
Yep.
Okay. And that's pretty much it. So now you've taken an unknown card, you've turned it face up, you've put it somewhere in the deck, we don't know where you've put it. Just to make sure that I haven't memorised where all the cards and things like that are, just give the deck a quick cut behind your back. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, yep.
All good? You happy with that?
Yes.
All nice and straight, no one can see where anything is. Put them down there, please. Now it's important to remember, I haven't touched the cards yet. This is all happening under your volition. Now could you just put your hand on top of the cards for me? Now this is where the reading begins. Okay, this is very fast. I'm getting a feeling of I'm seeing a chocolate. I'm seeing a chocolate with a very hard shell and a very, very soft centre. Does that make sense to you at all? Okay. I'm getting the feeling that there are only two major characteristic traits that are ruling your life and creating the things that are happening to you right now. One of them, the one that's coming to my mind the most, is and this is the hard outer shell I was talking about. I feel that there's a sort of person that has a very hard exterior, the sort of person that is very much into science and skills and learning things, a very deep interest and passion for things like quantum physics, but also spirituality. but not in the sit down and meditate way, but more in a study people who have understood enlightenment, this kind of a thing. Does that make sense to you? Okay. Now, if we had tarot cards laid out on the table that we could see, that little bit of a reading, I think, would have been the magician card. The magician card. Now, the reason I say that is because the magician card represents someone who is into these things, very much into science and trades, learning a new trade. You very much love learning new skills and things like that. However, this can work against you emotionally. Sometimes this can distance you from loved ones, especially if you become obsessed with some of these things, which sometimes I feel you do have the ability to get into. Now, if this is the case with you, if you do find this is happening, then that's fine. You have the strength and the ability to pull out of that. And as we all do in life, make a few tweaks here and there. It may not be necessary. Now, in contrast, if not balanced to that, I'm really feeling this soft centre of yours isn't quite as soft as some people might think. I think inside you're the sort of person who can be quite outgoing at a party, can be quite the life of the party, but inside you're always wondering, if not later on, should I have said such and such to someone? Did I say the right thing? I wonder if I look silly, etc. Silly little things like that. And we all get that, but this is the softer centre. But also I'm seeing sort of a person who would nod when people are trying to talk you into things, would nod when people are trying to manipulate and give opinions on things, but you're the sort of person that follows your own light. Deep down inside, no matter what's happening in everyday outside life, you're the sort of person who has this internal objective that you are following to the end of your life. It's an internal study. It's a spiritual thing, a thing that you don't talk to anyone about, not even your best friends. Does this make sense to you? Okay. Now again, if I was actually reading some tarot cards laid out on the table, that would be the Hermit card. You understand? Okay. Now, I'm going to leave it at that because it is only a 2-card reading. Now, please keep in mind, I haven't touched the cards at any point during this whole process. Everything was done by yourself. Now, in the beginning, I did say to you that this is a demonstration of intuition. Now, if my intuition is correct, the card that you upturned and slipped in the deck there somewhere should be between a couple of cards that would back up the reading that I just gave you. Maybe, may not. Let's have a look if you don't mind. So if you, I don't want to touch them, if you could just spread the cards a little for me, please. They're very difficult. They're going to slide very lightly with your fingertips. There we go. There's okay. So there's one card upturned. Obviously, that's the card you turned up. Could you pull that card out, plus the card on each side, either side of the upturned card? Like I said, I don't want to touch them. Thank you very much. Okay. Now the card in the centre is the card that you chose and the card that you moved into the deck, and it's the Justice card. And the Justice card in this particular case represents you in the mindset you're in right now. If we were to do this again in an hour's time, that would change because you've changed. Because of this reading, you've chosen the Justice card because the scales of justice. We're talking about 2 traits, duality. And you as a spirit, as a person, are caught between those 2 traits, which puts you in the centre of the balance, the scales of justice in your life. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Now, as I said, this whole reading was based on what I thought would have been the Magician card and the Hermit card. Now, if I was correct, and if my intuition was correct, and if the powers that be are in everybody's favour, then these two cards should be the Magician and the Hermit card. So let's have a look and see. And yes, it is. We're vindicated. Yay. Thank you very much.